Hi, thank you for stopping by. My name is Dave Perling. I've got several videos that you may have seen. This video, the purpose of this video is to expose what we consider to be a flim-flam man and snake oil salesman charlatan who pushes gender identity out of Australia. He has a place called the Identity Clinic down there someplace. We're very troubled by this. I first learned of him when he did a post on LinkedIn back in the middle of summer, and it was very troubling. Not only me, but several other readers of his post questioned his point of view, and then of course he, like many do, he attacked us just in a vicious way. But you'll see some of that here in the video coming up. But we have very big doubts about Storm Hassett out of Australia and his identity clinic. In this photograph here is Storm Hassett before. This photo is Storm Hassett after. How do you like that pose? And you're going to see later on in this video how he is pushing to get a hold of your children, my grandchildren, and children in general. Do you want to turn your children or grandchildren over to this man for anything? So when Storm Hassett and his Identity Clinic did their post on LinkedIn, here's the post right here. And you're going to see that he's trying to force the idea that companies had better be on board with his ideology or they might not make it. By the way, I'll put a link to his clinic in the description of this video. You can check it out. And I'm also going to put a link to at least one of his videos in there as well. Pay particular attention to his 40-minute YouTube video and the nonsense that we find in there, especially the stuff about how he claims to believe in God, but he's not religious. He believes in God, but he doesn't go to church. That kind of stuff. The typical stuff that you see time and time again from this type of person. And so just be aware of that. But we'll put the links in there, and you can have a look at it. I did reply to his post, and I mentioned how I think he's a charlatan, a flim-flam man, and a snake oil salesman. And I went through how people like him, what their method is. They get it's like the crystal ball reader at a roadside fair. Somebody sits down and they will say something like, "Well, you have a sick relative, don't you?" Of course, we all have a sick relative, and of course the victim answers, "Oh yes," and they say, "It's your grandmother." It could very well be. Grandmothers tend to get there. Or the victim might say, "Oh no, it's my grandfather." "Oh yes, it's your grandfather. I see it now." There you go. That kind of stuff. They lead you down. Then they lead you through a series of questions which you're almost forced to answer yes. You want your grandmother to be happy, don't you? Yes, of course you're going to say. You want your grandmother to be well? Of course you're going to answer yes. You want to be happy? Yes. And then they get right down to toward the end where they say, and it's going to be $2,500. Yes, yes. They're going for the money. So it's no more complicated than that. And it's been going on since the beginning of time, since the beginning of salesmanship. And it's there are plenty of legitimate salespeople that use methods like that when they're selling a legitimate product. But you ask yourself, is this one here? I don't know. Well, I do know. It's not. And just be aware of that. Here is a reply to me on LinkedIn after I confronted Storm Hassett. This one comes from somebody named Anna M. I don't know her last name. It's not on there, but as you can see, she is one of the people who agrees with Storm Hassett and his nonsense. And look how she kind of attacks me and tries to almost accuse me of breaking the law by bringing up the fact that some of us don't trust Storm Hassett. But you can read it. It's all right here. And she's another one who has been taken in by this flim-flam man. In this portion of the video, we want to show you how he is really after the children. Look at these references to children in his website. Child here, children there, adolescents. It's all over there. And again, ask yourself this. Do you want to turn your children or your grandchildren over to this man? Here you're going to see in this sequence, in this footage, some of the exchanges between me and Storm Hassett and between other readers of his post and Storm Hassett. As you can see here, he is very vicious, very condescending, and I don't know how old he is, but I don't think he's very old. And you see how he's making fun of our ages. That's good. He can do that. I can make fun of his age, but he's using it as a method of attack. And you can see here is one reply to him, and then his response. You can see here's his response to me, and here is another response to me. Here is his Instagram response to me. Look at this. Do you really want to hand money as much as $2,500 over to Storm Hassett and his identity clinic in Australia? Do you want to hand your children, your grandchildren, people you love, over to Storm Hassett and his identity clinic in Australia? Do you want to take the advice of Anna M., his supporter, and keep your mouth shut about Storm Hassett and his identity clinic? I don't. And isn't it curious that the same people who are telling us that it's wrong for us to be speaking out against this idea of promoting transition or gender dysphoria are the same people practicing gender transition and gender dysphoria. It'd be a bit like if the 9/11 hijackers were upset because we spoke out against terrorism. Of course, they wouldn't want that. Then this is the mentality that we're working with. We're doing, and plus, you know, these people, the Storm Hassetts, the other Flim Flam, Snake Oil Silver, they all have followers. They all have people that agree with them and promote their views. Does that make them right, though? Does that make it right? David Koresh had hundreds of followers that promoted his views. Jim Jones had, what, 1,000 people almost down in Guyana in the late 1970s. Charles Manson had a major following of his hippie crazies. And so because they have followers does not make them right. So just keep that in mind. The same people that are pushing the idea that we can't speak out against this or counter this are the same exact people who are practicing it. Isn't that convenient now? We hope you found this video that exposes Storm Hassett and his identity clinic as being informative. We believe that he is running a grift. He is a little different than any other Flim Flam man or snake oil salesman that's come along throughout the centuries. They all use the same techniques, buzzwords and cliches and silly things like that. But here's the thing. He, Storm Hassett, and his identity clinic, especially Storm Hassett, he is a little different than famous murder charlatans throughout the ages. Take, for example, Charles Manson in Southern California in the late 1960s. Take also, for example, Jim Jones, the American that went to Guyana with 900 and some followers and had them all commit suicide in the late 1970s. Consider David Koresh in Waco, Texas in the 1990s. These people all practice the same techniques. They do it over and over and over again. Please, if you'd like more about Storm Hassett, listen to his YouTube videos. I'll put the links in the comments down below here, especially the 40-minute one. It is especially revealing. It's got all the buzzwords. Start especially at the 28-minute mark in the 40-minute video. You'll see all the buzzwords, all his nonsense about how he's religious, but he's not. He doesn't go to church because he's not, but he believes in God. The typical stuff. They all practice it. It's all cookie cutter, carbon copy stuff from one charlatan, one Flim Flam man, one snake oil salesman to the next. And here he is. He's in Australia, but he states in his video he wants to spread it throughout the world. So please take a look at that, and we will keep you informed as we get more information. But this is our view on Storm Hassett and his identity clinic in Australia. Thanks for watching.